What is normal, and who has the right to define it? In part 1, we met extraordinary women who tore the rulebook of limitations to shreds. They taught us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the act of confronting it and transforming it into power. Today, we dig deeper. We're diving into stories where the only thing separating impossible from fact is a single defiant choice. We will explore bodies that have become a living manifesto and destinies rewritten by an unbreakable will. These are not fairy tales. This is reality. These are people living, breathing, and inspiring right now in our world. Prepare to once again question everything you thought you knew. Welcome to part 2 of our journey to redefine the extraordinary. Lyudmila Tichenková. Lyudmila Tichenková. Some people choose to stand out. She never had any other choice. At just 25, she has what many believe is the longest neck in the world, an astonishing 18 cm. It's a feature that forces people to stop and stare wherever she goes. But behind those intrusive stares lies a complex medical story few truly understand. Growing up in Ukraine, Lyudmila always knew her body was different. Her arms and legs were disproportionately long, her spine was abnormally curved, and her neck continued to grow. Doctors eventually gave her a name for her reality, Marfan syndrome, a rare connective tissue disorder that affects bones, eyes, and even the heart. As her body changed, her life was reshaped. Clothes no longer fit. The whispers of strangers. The mirror became a daily confrontation. She struggled with insecurities, unsure whether to hide or to embrace what made her so unique. She felt deeply alienated in a world where external standards so often dictate human value. But instead of living in shame and self-doubt, Lyudmila chose strength over fear. She began to confront herself, viewing her body with positivity, and realized that what made her different was exactly what made her powerful. Lyudmila didn't just accept her reality, she transformed it into her strength. She courageously stepped forward, sharing her story publicly, proving that beauty isn't about external form, but the confidence to own life's challenges. She refused to let whispers or stares define her life. She chose to live authentically, and it was this resilience that made her an inspiration for everyone dealing with stigma or feeling out of place in society. Lyudmila proved true strength comes from loving and accepting oneself without the need to change to fit anyone else's standards. Instead of hiding her differences, Lyudmila chose to own them, publicly sharing her story, educating others, and insisting that beauty is not always symmetrical or even comfortable. She refused to live in the shadow of insecurity, courageously confronting what she had endured, turning those challenges into a new motivation for herself and others. By sharing her journey, Lyudmila is not just shifting perceptions, she is carving out a vital space for those like her, those who may not fit society's narrow mold of perfection, but are uniquely beautiful and profoundly strong. Her beauty isn't derived from perfection, but from the audacity to live authentically and defy difference. Today, Lyudmila is not just her diagnosis. She is a symbol of how nature, no matter how wild, still makes room for grace. Her neck may be the longest, but what truly defines her is the unyielding courage that stands just as tall. Lyudmila has proven that strength isn't merely a physical attribute, but a force of spirit and the will to remain unbowed by all circumstance. She is an inspiration to those facing struggles, helping them realize that sometimes it's our differences that are the most precious and powerful things in life. The Apatani women, the women of the Apatani, a tribe where tattoos became a shield. Deep in the lush valleys of Arunachal Pradesh, India, exists a tribe where beauty was once a terrifying liability, and protection was only found through ink and bone. Meet the Apatani women. known not just for their grace, but for a tradition that celebrates strength born from pure necessity. Decades ago, the Apatani were celebrated for their beauty, and they were considered one of the tribes with the most distinctive beauty traditions in the region. But this blessing came at a terrible price. Neighboring tribes often kidnapped Apatani women, taking them from their homes. These invaders, unable to see their humanity, viewed the beauty of the Apatani women as a possession to be taken. In response, the Apatani women made a painful yet powerful choice. They began tattooing their faces and inserting large nose plugs. These were not just cultural marks, but a defiant self-defense strategy. The purpose was to deter attackers and reclaim sovereignty over their bodies. The tattoos and nose plugs were not decorative. They were a bold declaration that their bodies were not property to be stolen. This resilience and determination helped the Apatani women protect their cultural identity, asserting their right to self-determination and strength in a hostile, brutal world. These bold modifications were not for vanity. They were a matter of survival, a resilience etched deep into the skin. For the women of the Apatani tribe, changing their appearance was not an easy choice, but a decisive act to protect their cultural values and personal freedom. Known for their dark facial tattoos and nose plugs, they asserted their identity through distinctive features that were unmistakable. Every tattoo, every line on their body was a mark of endurance, a story of taking control of their lives amidst challenges. Today, although the practice has been banned, the older women still carry these marks with pride, not just as evidence of the past, but as part of their inner strength. Though the world around them has changed, these marks remain an inseparable part of their cultural heritage. The whispers from strangers, the stares, and the stigmas could not force them to bow down. Instead of hiding what made them different, the Apatani women stood defiantly, asserting themselves and inspiring future generations. Their story is not just about physical appearances, but about recalibrating how society perceives difference. They refused to change or hide who they were to fit into a world that demanded sameness. Women like Rose or the Apatani women chose to embrace themselves and live authentically. It's what made them beacons of self-confidence and inner strength, living proof that difference is truly power. Beyond appearances, the Apatani people live in synchrony with nature, cultivating rice and fish side by side without machinery, preserving their ecosystem via tradition. They worship the sun and the moon, honoring the land and life through festivals like Mayoko and Dri. In a world racing toward modernization, the Apatani have held fast to their traditional ways and continue to thrive. By honoring what has been passed down from their ancestors, they have shown that preserving culture is not a regression, but a form of progress, a strength that will not be subdued. Their legacy, passed down through generations, is a testament to the power of women who dared to publicly redefine beauty, not through mirrors, but through courage. Marla Runyon, the blind woman who shattered expectations. She couldn't see the finish line, but that never slowed her relentless drive. At just 9 years old, Marla was diagnosed with Stargardt disease, a rare macular degeneration that began to steal her central vision. By adulthood, she was officially blind, but instead of letting this loss define her life, Marla used it as fuel to propel herself forward. Most people would accept limitations, but Marla chose to demolish them. She began running, moving from local races to the world stage, and eventually she made history. Marla didn't just dominate the Paralympics, where she won 5 gold medals. She did the unthinkable, qualifying for the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games, becoming the first blind athlete to compete against able-bodied athletes. She didn't just show up, she fought fiercely. In the 1500 meters final, she not only participated, but claimed 8th place in the world. Marla's perseverance and determination didn't just surpass her personal limits, it shattered the world's perception of what is truly possible. But Marla didn't stop there. She went on to win national championships in the US in long-distance races like the 5 kilometers and 20 kilometers, and even tackled the New York City and Boston marathons, posting elite times. Off the track, Marla is also an inspiring speaker, celebrated author, and educator, sharing her journey through her book No Finish Line. Her story is not just about sports, it's about true vision, not what you see, but what you believe is possible. Because when the world told her, "You can't," Marla just ran, proving them all wrong, one stride at a time. Risikat Aziz, the woman with the startling emerald green eyes. In a small town in Nigeria, a girl was born with something so rare, so striking, that people couldn't stop staring. Risikat Aziz has true emerald green eyes, not from contact lenses, not from reflected light, but a pure genetic anomaly. No one in her family, neither her mother nor her father, shares this trait. It was as if nature had crafted a unique divergence. At first, people feared it was a health issue. But her vision is perfect. No pain, no complications, just the stunning pigmentation created by some mysterious genetic mutation. Then came her daughters, both born with the same rare green eyes. Her beauty quickly became a source of judgment. According to reports, her husband distanced himself, allegedly over the intense attention their daughters' eyes attracted. The rumors were rampant. He denied abandoning them, claiming he married her because of those very eyes. But through it all, Risikat stood defiant, never hiding, never ashamed. The media seized her story, and soon the world was captivated. Scientists say that green eyes in people of African descent are incredibly rare, a unique genetic mutation or ancient ancestry. But for Risikat, this was not science. This was identity. It was the beauty of being born different, because in a world full of sameness, one glance proves you are one in a million. Annie Hawkins Turner, known as Norma Stitz, holds an indisputable record, the largest natural breasts in the world, bra size 100Z. This astounding size is the direct result of gigantomastia, a condition causing excessive breast growth. From a young age, she had to endure the rapid, uncontrollable changes in her body. She has faced constant challenges, from finding clothes that fit to coping with chronic back pain and the invasive stares of strangers. Living with a different body created deep isolation and daily obstacles. However, instead of succumbing to shame or trying to change herself, Annie chose to accept her body and turn it into a strength. Despite immense daily struggles, Annie radically embraced her body, becoming a force for body positivity. She proves to the world that beauty is not a single narrow mold, and she empowers others to love and accept themselves for who they are, not for what they see in the mirror. Annie's story is a testament that beauty isn't about conforming to society's standards of perfection, but about the power and love for your true self and body. She is living proof that we don't need to change ourselves to meet others' expectations, but rather we should own exactly what we have. Francisco Domingo Joaquim. Prepare to witness the truly staggering feat of Francisco Domingo Joaquim, the Angolan man who holds the Guinness World Record for the widest mouth ever measured, stretching a staggering width of 6.69 inches, wider than a soda can. Francisco discovered his unique talent as a teenager and has been captivating audiences ever since. From the moment he first tested his jaw's full ability, he captivated global attention and became a bizarre phenomenon that no one could have foreseen. What's more, Francisco didn't just use his anomaly to attract attention, he turned it into a true performance art, leaving the audience in total awe every time he opens his mouth. He can fit an entire soda can into his mouth and even a glass bottle. His jaw seems to defy all normal human limits. Doctors attribute this extreme hypermobility to a rare condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which affects the connective tissues in his body. This condition allows Francisco to open his mouth to its truly unbelievable extent. However, instead of viewing this as a disadvantage, Francisco has embraced it as a unique asset and a core part of his identity. Amanda Grice. Amanda Grice, a woman trapped by constant stimulation. Most people see arousal as something they can control. For Amanda Grice, it became a torment she could not escape. Outwardly, Amanda was a typical young woman from Florida. But inside her body, her nervous system had gone terribly wrong. She was diagnosed with one of the rarest, most misunderstood conditions in the world, persistent genital arousal disorder, PGAD. Unlike true arousal, PGAD is uncontrollable, purely physical, unwanted sensation with no desire or true release. Amanda described her life as being trapped in an overloaded body. She endured up to 100 orgasms a day, not pleasure, not pain, not intimacy, but pure isolation. It robbed her of sleep, destroyed relationships, and made daily life unbearable. Even leaving the house was a risk. Just sitting still could trigger hours of painful symptoms. For years, Amanda suffered in silence. Most doctors could not even name her condition. She was met with devastating disbelief, but she refused to stop, desperately seeking answers, yearning for peace. Eventually, she found a specialist, Dr. Robert Eckenberg, who helped her combine medication with physical therapy. Her symptoms didn't disappear, but they became manageable. By courageously sharing her story on Body Bazaar, Amanda didn't just find her own voice. She became a voice for countless others suffering in silence. Her situation might sound like a bizarre fantasy, but for Amanda, it was a nightmare. And speaking out was how she reclaimed her life. Willie Murphy. Next up, we have a grandmother who is fitter than your fitness coach, tougher than you can possibly imagine, and more inspiring than any motivational guru on a mountaintop. I'm talking about Willie Murphy, dubbed the world's strongest grandma. When you think of a weightlifter, you probably picture bulging muscles, visible veins, and powerful lifts like a charging beast, right? But if that's what you're thinking, you are not prepared for Willie Murphy. This is a grandmother, yes, a true grandmother. And don't let the grandma title fool you. She can lift more than you and I combined and probably bake a pie while she's at it. We're talking about a woman who deadlifts over 200 lbs, bench presses over 100 lbs, and does push-ups like they are effortless. Willie Murphy is not just a grandmother, she is a true phenomenon in the world of sports. She has more awards and trophies than many professional athletes, and what's truly astonishing is that she didn't even start weightlifting until she was in her 70s. Yes, you heard that right, 70. This is not just a late bloomer. What makes her truly special is not just her physical power, it's her mental strength, her unwavering determination, and her unshakable self-belief. Willie Murphy is not merely an icon of physical strength, but also living proof that age cannot limit what a person can achieve. Imagine you're at the gym, your body aching, your spirit failing, and you're about to give up after a grueling workout. And then you see Willie Murphy, in her 80s, lifting double the weight you just attempted, all while sporting a calm smile. That sight is a jolt to your ego, instantly reigniting all the belief and your inner strength. When you look at her, you see not just a phenomenal powerlifter, but a living embodiment of mental fortitude, unwavering self-confidence, and relentless determination. Willie Murphy is the ultimate powerlifter, not just in sport, but in life. She proves that true strength is not just from the muscles, but from self-belief, from defying all limits and pursuing your goals, no matter how difficult they are. Her story is a potent testament for everyone, regardless of age or circumstances. It proves that age is not a reason to stop. In fact, we can continue to challenge ourselves, to grow, and to reach new heights, despite the passage of time. Willie Murphy is the ultimate powerlifter, not just in sports, but in life. The truth is, you can become stronger, tougher, and more incredible than you thought before. So, the next time you feel discouraged, remember Willie Murphy, the powerhouse grandma who is lifting weights and showing the world what's possible. Duangjay samaksamam. This is Duangjay samaksamam. At first glance, her condition seems surreal. Enormous arms that appear to be a special effect. But for Duangjay, this is not a movie. It is her everyday painful reality. She lives with a condition so rare, most doctors will never encounter it in their entire careers. It's called macrodystrophy lipomatosa. This disorder causes uncontrolled localized growth of fatty tissue and bone. While it typically affects only one limb, in her case, it has infiltrated both of her arms from shoulder to fingertip. The swelling began in childhood. A small difference at first, it soon became a severe burden. As years passed, both arms grew heavier, bulkier, and harder to control. This impacted her balance, her ability to dress, move, and even sleep. But the physical burden was matched by the cruel social one. She was called names, criticized, and stared at like a public spectacle. But what the world failed to see was the sheer daily strength it took to live in a body that defied all norms. She refused to hide or shy away. She continues to adapt. And she shows up every day, refusing to shrink. Doctors have explored surgical options, but due to the complexity and risks involved, treatment isn't always feasible or safe. Currently, she is carrying the burden, quite literally. However, her story is not one of shame or failure. It's a quiet resilience. She reminds us that the hardest battles are often the ones fought without a spotlight, requiring only the courage to face that mirror. Talmesha Jones, the mother who reframed stretch marks as beauty. In a world obsessed with filters and flawlessness, Talmesha Jones stands proudly, defined by her stretch marks and her smile. Hailing from San Antonio, Texas, Talmesha is a mother, influencer, and entrepreneur who is shattering beauty norms. Her message is about real bodies, real curves, and earned confidence. And she doesn't just talk, she lives it with bold photos, boundless energy, and unapologetic pride. After becoming a mother, Talmesha rejected society's intense pressure on women to bounce back and erase any trace of pregnancy. Instead of hiding her body, she chose to celebrate it publicly. She proudly claims her role as a mother, transforming her stretch marks into art. Through her platform and brand, Tigress Beauty Club, she shares powerful content with over 75,000 followers, blending fashion, fitness, and a defiant message of self-love. Her posts often feature her dancing, working out, or wearing bold outfits that deliberately expose what most ads try to erase. The reality of authenticity. She reminds women that strength isn't a flat stomach. It's the power of raising children, healing from the entire physical journey of motherhood, and still showing up. It's this raw authenticity that makes her captivating. What sets Talmesha apart is not her body, it's her sincerity. She's not selling perfection, she is the living proof that beauty begins the moment shame ends. To every woman doubting herself, Talmesha says, "Your body tells your unique story. Be proud of it." They were born different, but they chose to live defiant lives. What they all share is not just rarity, it's unbreakable resilience. They remind us that true strength isn't born from conformity. It's born from owning your truth and being proud. In a world obsessed with perfection, they chose authenticity. In a world that dismissed them, they believed in themselves. What about you? What part of your own journey makes you proud? Share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to continue exploring these fascinating stories of strength and confidence with us. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.